In the depths of space, a team of scientists explores ancient ruins revealing forgotten technology and an unknown species dead for over 100,000 years. What horrors will they encounter? What horrors will stay behind? What horrors will be unleashed?
An I Should Roll Halloween miniseries, releasing 3 consecutive Mondays starting October 14, 2024.
Podcast by the Intergalactic Improv Initiative. Ride of the Valkyrie, Minisode 6, A Krogan Called Kache, featuring the voices of J.D. Kelly and creator Kaya Renwick. Well, there's things that never will be right, I know, and things need changing everywhere you go. But till we start to make a move to make a few things right, you'll never see me wear a suit of white. I should roll. July 19th, 2174, Terran Universal Coordinated Calendar. Omega Nebula, Sarabaric System, Omega. Rika District, Lower Markets. We join Kache on Omega. This is maybe his, 3rd or 4th trip. He's been running with the Vipers, a merc gang that he's decided that he likes. They're smaller crew. They keep their numbers low because they care about who they hire. They won't just hire anybody. The Viper's leader is a Batarian named Kesvin Raganok. He runs a tight ship. He gave Kache a chance after seeing, something or other going down in Omega, and Kache impressed him. Omega is a shitty place, we all know this, but nothing's illegal as long as you don't fuck with Arya. Kesvan keeps the Vipers to jobs that are worth it. Jobs that are worth the risk for the payout. And he has an open door policy, so any merc under his wing can bring in a job posting or something they want to do, but it's his call whether or not they do it. So on this fine Omega day, Kache is scrolling through the Craigslist board. And he finds a job posting from someone he hasn't seen before. He hasn't seen this name come up. And the name attached is Cypher. And this person is looking for a crew to mess up a slaver shipment. Now, what does Kache think about slavers?
Kache looks down upon slavers. The idea of owning another person doesn't really make any sense because, whatever species you are who you are, an individual. And the idea of owning another individual, like, if you own a whole bunch of people, then what worth do you have? Like, clearly you're weak because you want to have these people as possessions. Like, if you stand on your own 2 feet, you should just stand on your own 2 feet, rather than having to try and bolster yourself by owning a bunch of other people to do your bidding for you. Can't you do it yourself? It's that kind of like, it just seems ridiculous and infringes therefore on the individualness of others as well. So yeah, it doesn't look kindly upon slavers at all. With the Craigslist, which I'm assuming is OmniTool extranet browsing.
Yeah.
Does it say anything about Cypher? About I'm guessing there's no employees personnel file or anything like that. It's just a name.
No, it's just a name. It's a name and a location and a request that somebody go and fuck these guys up.
Would Kache need to inform the Vipers about the job, or is he a free agent who can just take on jobs under the colors of the Vipers?
Kache is nominally a free agent. Kesvan doesn't frown on his mercs taking side jobs. Everybody's got to moonlight. Everybody's got to do their shit. If Kache did something that would besmirch the name or reputation of the Vipers, then he'd have to answer to Kesvan for that. And so, yeah, if Kache wanted to do this himself, he absolutely could. If he wanted to bring it to Kesvan and suggest it as a job, he also could. That said, I think Kache would definitely know by this point that Batarians, as general rule, have no problem with slavery. And Kesvan, the Vipers have probably hit a few slaver shipments before, but usually bigger operations. Based on the phrasing of this job posting, this doesn't seem like it would have, like, there's no bounty listed. Which is kind of it's not unheard of, but it's not super common. Usually if you're posting a job on Omega and you don't list the bounty, either it's, do it and you'll get what you're, like, how well you do the job, you'll get it for what it's worth. And they don't want to say, like, oh, we're going to give you 20,000 credits, because they're going to have, people knocking down their door with shitty mercs who just want to pay out. Or they can't pay anything. Kesvan prefers, he's a pretty conservative guy. He prefers to run with stuff that he can assure.
Sure. So probably at this point, Kache would say that it's probably best to meet with Cypher or communicate with Cypher in order to find out more about the job. Like, is there potential for profit here? Is there payment here to make it worth the Viper's time? Or is this just something where maybe a few credits could be picked up off the bodies of a few dead slavers, in which case maybe it's just worth Kache's time?
Well, you can certainly send Cypher a message through the Craigslist. I should come up with a name for this at some point. Through the Omega Craigslist app, as it were.
Does Kache need to like, is there a cover letter for this application, this job application, or is it just registering interest and then you'll be contacted kind of thing?
I mean, yeah, it's you can message for interest and the person may or may not get back to you with more. So the listing is it gives a location. It's a very brief request to help mess with these slavers' days, and the name is just sort of tagged. It's like the username, basically, because basically this is like a forum, right? This person has posted more or less, and it's like, this is a job that I need done.
Cool. Yeah. In that case, Kache would just respond with an affirmative that he's into it.
How long is Kache willing to wait for a response?
Well, I guess Kache would also be looking, if he's looking at jobs, he wouldn't just look at one. He'd see if there's other jobs available on the board, or and if there's nothing else that seems either that he would do or seems that of interest, then he'd be looking at something else to do with his day until he either hears back or checks the message board again for another job. I guess it would just be a case of, because you don't know, Cypher may have taken on another mercenary and decided not to hire you, as it were. So it's kind of, you don't wait for a response, you just get on with things, and if you get a response, you get a response. Okay,
well, I will say that today's it's a pretty slow day on the message board. There's not a whole lot going on that I think would really pique Kache's interest. I mean, there's lots of jobs being posted, but, a lot of them send you out to, the far end of the terminus, or they require you to have your own ship, or, they require, big upfront investments, which are usually scams, and they usually try to, they want to take your money and then take you, and it's a bad time. There's also, there's sorts of jobs that Kache maybe isn't into, right? There's always call for escort services, which, maybe Kache's thing, maybe not, I don't know.
Maybe.
with the right client, maybe.
The Crown Prince of Novaria wants to look after some of your credits by depositing into account, and,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a little while, or maybe a couple of hours or so, before Kache gets a ping that Cypher has responded. But interestingly, the message, it looks like bunch of gibberish. There's nothing readable in the text that comes back.
Could I do a... I don't know what check you would want for it, but can I see if I can... maybe hacking to see if I can discern of whether it's encoded or in some form of code?
Yeah, I think that would probably... Well, I would... Yeah, hacking or investigation, I'd say.
Which one am I better at? I am just as good as either. So let's go with investigation, because that seems more roleplay appropriate. A 3.
So yeah, you kind of poke it, and I don't know how much you've done with this before, but you can't really make heads or tails out of it.
Kache is not a tech-savvy person. However, does Kache know anyone within the Vipers who does deal with tech stuff?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, your tech expert is an Asari who refuses to tell anybody anything about herself. She's got dark blue skin with a few white markings. Her name is Siri. Yeah, she's the tech expert. Usually if you ask her for a personal favor, it's going to set you back a handful of credits, enough for a round of drinks, not much. But yeah, you would find her, and you guys, so the Vipers have they've got a clubhouse, as it were, right? Kesfan has an apartment or whatever, and anybody who's wants to crash there can crash there. And she's in her normal spot in her little den of gadgetry and tech, picking apart something, looks like a weapons mod.
Kache would obviously head there, go up to Siri and say, "Hey, Siri, you got a moment?"
Yeah, sure. What do you want? She stretches and tosses the weapon mod to the side and turns and cracks her neck and looks at you.
I think there's something wrong with my Omni tool. I went for a job and all I got back is some mess of symbols and figures and letters.
Ugh. Did you get a shot last week? Was that you, or was that... no, that was the Vorcha that we picked up. I don't know why Kesfan picked that. All right, here, give it here. And she takes it, and she fiddles around with it, and tilts her head and goes, "No, there's nothing wrong with your Omni tool, man. That's encoded."
Well, I applied for the job. How do I uncode it? Why would they send me a coded message for a job I applied for? It makes damn no sense.
She raises an eyebrow. She's like, "Well, it could be a test." She says, "I'll have pity on you this time. I know you're new at this." And she kind of winks, and she fiddles around with it. And she's got your Omni tool and her Omni tool, and they're both going. And the code blocks, scroll by. Well, that's weird. You sure you're applying for a legit job? All this says is help.
Is there is there anything that says where it came from?
Well, as far as I can tell, both these posts were made by the same Omni tool. The encoding, I would guess, Quarian. Same sort of signature. But any Quarian coding, it's all very personalized, As to location, this location listed here, that's about as close as I can get. And she points to the location listed in the first post.
Well, all right, that's all I got to go on. I owe you one. In fact, I owe you two.
Hit me up at the bar when we're next there and make sure I don't die.
Kache takes his Omni tool and he's just gonna head to the origin location and go from there.
Cool.
Happy Halloween! I'm Carter Beale Thresher.
And I'm Davy Joe Thresher.
Welcome to the Thresher Brothers Amazing Phasing Maze! Find your way to the middle of the maze,
and we'll give you a goddamn pumpkin.
Absolutely free!
Find us in the artificial cornfields on Novaria.
But don't eat the corn maze. That's poisonous.
Dishonestly and under mild duress. This is a good maze. The maze is up to galactic standard safety codes. Perjuring myself. The maze was amazing.
Thresher's Amazing Phasing Maze accepts no liability for terror, crying, injury, torture, or gruesome deaths.
So the location listed in the post it's not the shittiest area of town, it's not the nicest area of town, it's a pretty standard commercial district sort of dealio, kind of in the back alleys, as it were, right? It's not the most trafficked docks, but it's not the dead spot. How are you coming up on it? What's your attack plan?
Well, what do I know about that area? What's in that area? Is it living quarters? Is it docks? Is it...
Well, you could roll me a history check if you want to see what you know ahead of time, or a perception check if you want to just figure it out as you go.
I would like to do both.
Sure, sounds good.
A history check on the way. So history, I get a 16.
Awesome. Okay, so on the way, you're like, okay, so where am I going? Which district am I going to? Okay, you are going to sort of the back-ish end of Tuhi District, which is a really, really popular commercial district, mostly run by Elcor and Volus corporations that do business on Omega, and so it's not owned by one of the big merc gangs. It's not Blue Sun's territory, it's not Eclipse territory, it's not Bloodpack territory. It's very, very, it is commercial, it is corporate. And so that you'd think that, that might make it less cutthroat. God, no. That just means that everybody's private mercs are there. And so it's very much like you have your own people, your own little militias. And if you step on somebody's turf the wrong way, you're liable to get shot. So in Noveria, you can get away with anything as long as it sounds nice. On Ilium, you can get away with anything as long as it looks nice. On Omega, you can get away with anything. Right? There is no business here that is considered illegal as long as, again, you don't fuck with Aria. And so you can buy or sell literally anything in this district. Usually you have to pay a pretty significant tax if you don't already own a dock there, to import or export. And I imagine Kache, the Vipers have probably done private security gigs for some of these corporations, right? Because they pay pretty well. Mostly it's just guarding a shipment or whatever, and nobody ever asks questions as to what's in the shipment. Yeah, so that's where you're going. You're not going to the super high class end of Tuhi District, but you're not going to the super low class. It's pretty middle of the road is where you're headed.
So you're saying it's not really shop fronts, it's more like warehouses.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. As you get closer to the other districts, there's maybe a shopping district where they might, you'd have some of those corporations might have offices or display or of the public facing sort of stuff. But yeah, you are definitely headed to the docks area, or the storage to docks area, sort of the back towards the edge of the asteroid.
Messages like this posted to the board and then a further message sent to my Omni tool. Would that require a terminal, or could that be sent remotely from an Omni tool?
That could be sent from an Omni tool.
Okay, damn, that makes it much harder. Okay, I rolled a perception check as well, and I got a dirty 20.
Nice. Okay. Sweet.
Do Omni tools work like a mobile device with Wi-Fi?
More or less, yeah.
So if I went into this back area where the warehouse district is and went to a terminal, could I use the terminal to check devices that have been connected to it to connect to the Wi-Fi?
I'm gonna say probably it's gonna take you a hacking roll.
Yeah, that's not really... Okay, in that case, just a dirty 20 on a perception. I'm just going to look out for anything unusual.
Okay, sure. So as you're coming up on this address, I'm thinking about maybe you watched a vid the other night where really this spy stuff. You think, oh, maybe I could hack into a terminal and see who connected to what. That'd be really cool. And you're like, I don't know if I can do that, but it'd be cool.
Yeah, by hack, it would be using a hammer on the terminal to see what spills out as he smashes it. But,
I mean, it works in the vids, right?
Hacking
Clearly,
is a confusing word. I mean, you could be going after it with a sharp object.
Exactly. I mean, come on.
Is that not how it works?
As you're thinking about this to yourself, and you're coming up on the location listed in the posting, it's quieter. Like this isn't. It's a storage area, so it's not like a warehouse. Nothing's inside or outside on Omega. It's all like sort of asteroid, right? But it's not in a building. You've kind of got prefab containers, sort of like essentially shipping containers, sort of stacked haphazardly in various places. This is kind of the everything, the dumping ground. You see a few people wandering through in various colors of armor. You notice some, you recognize some, you don't. But you do notice as you approach, so you get to within, I'm going to say like the equivalent of 4 or 5 blocks from the location, that suddenly there's not a lot of people around anymore. And that is weird for Omega. Usually, if nobody is around on Omega, that means that either people have been paid to stay away, or anybody who gets too close to something is being killed. There's not really a lot of other options. And so, yeah, you go from, normal, quiet traffic in a place that not many people have occasion to be in to you're the only one there.
Yeah, suspicious by the absence of traffic is an interesting one. So I'm guessing it just looks like normal building fronts. There's not much out of the ordinary other than just the lack of people.
Yeah, you are definitely getting out of, we are out of the places where there's actual buildings, and it is just it's like a shipping container yard. This is the sort of yard where you can pay to sit your shipping container there until the next ship that it's being shipped on. How many times can you say the word ship? Docks, and you can move it and keep going.
Cool. And can I do a performance check in order to? Essentially, I want to walk through this area and look like I am looking for somewhere to piss.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
And it could be I'm looking for a quiet corner where nobody is looking so I can go relieve myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that will be the excuse if somebody stops and says, "Hey, what are you doing here?" It's just, I'm looking for a place to piss. It's just...
I love that. That cracks me up. Yeah, absolutely. Because
it's Omega. I imagine that people peeing in shop fronts and dark corners happens all the time, and it adds to the smell and flavor of Omega.
Precisely.
So as a performance roll, I get a 17.
Cool. You're walking along, you're approaching, you're in this last 4 to 5 blocks before the location as listed on the posting. And I think you also realize on your perception of a dirty 20, that location's quite specific for a shipping yard. You've got your excuse. Are you trying to be stealthy at all, or are you trying to walk like you own the place?
No, I think if somebody was looking to go to the bathroom in a shop front on Omega, they wouldn't care. They're just looking to get away from the people, so it's fine that I'm here and there's nobody here, but looking for a place where I feel comfortable. So, yeah, I'm not hiding anything. It's more brazen than that, which to me feels disarming. I'm hiding in plain sight, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure. Sure. I'm just gonna do...
No, counter rolls.
Yeah. So you come to within a block, 150 meters, thereabouts. You're in the same block as this location. You catch movement out of the corner of your eyes, and glance over, and you see a Turian and a couple of humanoid figures. So it could be Asari, could be Batarian, could be human. Can't tell. They're armored in black and gold armor. Which is not one you recognize offhand. I mean, there's only so many colors of armor you can have before you start, repeating yourself.
Yeah.
They're hanging out in front of a prefab container, and they look pretty bored. One of them does glance over as you walk by, and doesn't move in the time that you see. So you've passed basically between 2 aisles of shipping containers. You catch the movement, they catch your movement, and then you're past.
Cool. As that so far is kind of the only activity I've seen in this area, is there more of this area for me to look for? Or, is there a point where this becomes, like, populated again? Can I move through the quiet area back into a busy area, or does it dead end?
I'm going to say that you are rapidly approaching the spot where it's going to turn into docks. You would expect to hear more activity going on, but it's kind of like, you kind of get the sense that there was sort of like a curtain, and beyond that curtain, it's real quiet. So there might be people on the docks, but you can't hear anything. You kind of get the feeling like you would have to backtrack to get to people again.
Okay. Yeah, in that case, can I go further to the point where I am, entering the territory of the docks area as well?
Sure. Yep. What are you looking for? I'm going to say that's maybe like 3 more minutes walk, general strolling through. It's not far.
Oh, well, okay. Well, if it's that far, I guess I'll, okay, if I'm at the docks then, do I think I'm out of the area where this transmission would have come from if I'm heading into the docks? So that's too far. So the only thing I've got to go on is this container with 3 people in front of it. In that case, I'll turn around and go back to them.
Okay, how are you making this approach?
I'm gonna go up to them and ask them if they know where a restroom is, a bathroom.
Okay, are you picking one of them in particular, or are you just kind of announcing to the...
Oh, whoever's closest. And I'm going to approach them, and as if I'm like, because I in theory, Kache doesn't want to announce that to the whole street, as if there's people there. There isn't, but who cares? So I'm going to get fairly close to them whilst I keep walking towards them. Hey there, any of you know where there's like a restroom nearby, or somewhere I can, drain my Varen and, to sort of like essentially come up with more colorful metaphors for going to the bathroom.
Sure. Okay. As you approach, they stop looking bored, and they're all full-face helmets. You can't see their faces. The Turian is the one who comes forward, and you notice that the two humanoid figures hand to sidearm sort of thing. The Turian comes forward and, "You're on Omega. Piss wherever the hell you want. Get off our turf."
Oh, whoa, no need to be, unneighborly about this. Whose turf is it? I don't know who belongs here.
Not you. He ain't backing down. If you want to push this, it's going to be an intimidate roll. Or a charm roll, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a charm roll then.
Hey, buddy, ain't no need to be like that. Merc to merc, these things happen sometimes. You just gotta go sometimes. I've met this lovely little Quarian lady, and, they went extra suit, if you know what I mean. But, it's left me with a little bit of a burn down there, a little bit of an itch. And you know how these things happen. And sometimes you need a restroom to get a little bit of privacy, just to work it out and, get things flowing again. And he continues on in that kind of thing, to the point of putting his hand on the Turian's shoulder to try and, create a buddy-buddy moment. Oh, I rolled well! Yay! And this would be charm?
Yeah, you said you were going for charm, yeah.
Okay, I rolled a 17, but I do have a -3 to charm.
Oh, ouch!
So it's not as good. But I rolled a 14. Yeah. Krogan not known for their charm, let's be fair.
Well, that's true. What is your goal here? How closely are you paying attention to how they're reacting or what they're doing? Or what are you trying to get at?
Do you want an insight roll?
Yeah, I'm going to do an insight roll from the Turian.
Fair. My insight...
Ha! Oh my god.
-4, so I have no idea what they're doing. Oh, good. Yes.
And so he kind of tilts his head and he's like confused. But I'll say, you also notice that when you mention a Quarian, the 2 guys in the background start a little bit. They kind of move, and then they relax. But it's just enough of a movement. Like, you're a merc. You've trained to see these little movements in people to make sure that, you know, if someone's going to shoot you, you know it's coming. Right? Not so much to move out of the way, but then you at least know it's coming.
Enough to go, oh, look, I'm being shot.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And the Turian goes, well, I mean, I will say I understand, but yeah, this is, merc to merc, and he also hand on shoulder. This ain't the place to be.
Oh, is it dangerous here? Like, well, you're obviously dangerous, but like,
And he points nebulously to whatever, to there's a container behind them, you said, or is
they're all, the three of them are standing in front of a container. Yeah.
Oh, is this? And he sort of vaguely points at, is this stuff dangerous?
As you're pointing to it, one of the other mercs actually does draw his weapon, and doesn't point it at you, but it's now in both hands at his side, and the Turian's like, well, I wouldn't say dangerous, and you hear one of the other ones go, shh, but worth my paycheck, if you know what I mean.
I don't know what the Krogan equivalent of tapping the nose would be. You know? But Kache does I see what you're saying. In that case, you don't want me to be here, and I'll make myself scarce. But is that supposed to be doing that? And Kache points to the upper corner of the container.
Give me another performance roll.
Yeah, sure. Please roll well. Please roll
well. Or deception.
Well.
Performance or deception, whichever one you prefer.
Neither are probably very good. 11 in performance.
You beat him.
Yes.
You say this, and he goes, shit! And whirls around to see absolutely nothing there. But I'm going to give you, let's roll initiative.
Yeah.
Because I assume that's what's happening next.
A Turian, like a Turian shield, like a human shield, would give me a fighting chance against the other two.
That seems great. Yeah, I think that sounds great.
Baby's first combat. I'm so excited. 11.
Okay. The two at the prefab are going to go first. They pull out their pistols, but you're a little wider than the Turian, but not by much. And so he makes a very good shield. And so they hold their turn because they can't get a good bead on you behind their buddy. So now it's your turn.
Cool. Is there would it be a strength check to do like a grapple?
Yeah.
Awesome. In that case, I would like to do that. And of course, I roll a natural 1.
Oh no! You do have the option, if you would like to use an effort to reroll.
Yes, 100%. I will definitely do that. Yes. Much better. Well, not much, but it's better. That would make it a 16.
Okay, that beats his contesting check. So what are you doing with this grapple?
With the Turian facing away from me, I get an arm around their neck and draw my pistol.
Okay.
In order to hold them as a shield and shoot at the other two assailants, is my plan.
Okay.
I'm assuming the grapple check is like a full action.
Yes, I would think so, yeah.
Drawing my weapon is like a minor action, so that would end my turn, effectively.
Yeah, the Turian is last in the initiative order, and he's gonna flail ineffectively. You have managed to get a good grip on him. He is helmeted, so you can't just shoot him in the head, unfortunately.
No.
He says, "Hey, maybe we can we talk about this? Let's talk about this. Do you want to say talking's a free action? So, if you want to say anything back, you can."
Okay, in that case, can I do a roll as part of this as part of the talking? Is that?
Yeah. Yeah, I would think, yeah, because if you're doing charm or intimidate or whatever, that's part of talking. Yeah.
Oh yeah, full switch to intimidate now. It's the
Figured.
The act is being dropped at this point.
Listen here, P-Brain. Tell me what's in the crate or I'll space you all.
It was a 13 on intimidate as well.
Okay. Well, he rolled a 5 on his resolve.
Shit, man, it's just a Quarian. Spirits, it's not that... Why do you care?
Well, let's say I got a soft spot for Quarians. Open it up. Show me them.
He motions to the one on the side.
Just open it. Just open it. This is not worth... You want to get your head caved in by this guy? I don't. Just open the damn door.
And so the one's like,
all right, fine.
And waves his Omni tool over the lock, and it slides open.
There. See, you happy? You can have her. Fuck. Just let us go. We're already gonna lose our pay for this job. Spirits.
Is the Quarian like tied up in any way, or are they?
So you remember the way these shipping containers work, or these little prefab containers work? They've got the door on the side, and then the rest of the containers over here. So when the door slides open, you don't immediately see her. So she's presumably further into the container.
Oh, okay. In that case, I with a gesture of the executioner pistol, I'm like, go on, and gesture that both of them should go in ahead of me.
Okay, so yeah, both of them go in. Are you following with the Turian still in the grapple hold?
100%. Yeah.
It's pretty tight in there now with 4 of you. And as you come in, you see a Quarian. Yep, she's cuffed to the back wall. You can see a broken Omni tool bracelet on the floor beside her. Looks like she's been beaten. There's a couple of tears in her suit. She doesn't look like she's in great shape. But when you all come in, she starts trying to like wriggle and pull away from the wall.
You bullshits! Let me go!
Can I fire a warning shot as a further intimidation?
Sure. Yeah.
Kache fires a warning shot into the wall to kind of dominate the audio for a moment, and in a more authoritative voice, it's,
you, up against the wall, face it, on your knees. You, unlock those chains.
And then puts the executioner pistol to the neck of the Turian and says, and you, stay still.
The 2 other guards obey. They both rolled really poorly on their resolve checks. Go, Kache, go.
Let's go!
And so the one goes and waves his Omni tool over the Omni cuffs, and they flicker off, and the Quarian sort of slumps against the wall, shakes, feeling into her hands, or tries to, rubs her hands together. And the Turian in your grasp is not moving.
Kache says to the Quarian,
take a step outside.
She slowly gets to her feet, stumbles. You can see her, she looks like they hurt her leg somehow. You can't see how. There's the envirosuit is in the way. But she stumbles out. She gives everybody a wide berth. And you get the feeling like if she could spit on them, she would. But instead, she just does what you assume to be a rude gesture. I don't know how well-versed Kache is in Quarian language, but the vehemence with which she throws fingers at these guys is like, this guy, she's pissed. And she stumbles out and sort of like trips halfway down, catches herself on the wall, and sort of stumbles out of the container.
Cool. Kache would like to push the Turian into the other person who is still standing, exit the door,
yep,
and shoot the lock.
Yes! I hoped, I was like, he's gonna leave them all in there. Yes, he is.
Hell yeah.
I'd like you to roll me one last performance check to see how quickly you can destroy this lock.
Performance 13.
That's good enough. It's a stationary object. And so, yeah, you push him in. He stumbles, knocks the other guy over. They all go sprawling. And as they're getting to their feet, you come out and you slam the door shut and blow the lock to smithereens. And there you go. You've locked these 3 mercs into the prefab container. And the Quarian is sort of leaning over and, like, bracing herself on her knees and trying to get her bearings with being free.
Hey, I got a message I assume was from you.
She rolls her shoulders and tries to stand up, and she's still, like, she's favoring that leg. She's definitely hurt.
Yes, that was me. They didn't find my Omni tool at first because they're too stupid to check inside the Enviro suit. So I managed to get the message out. Then of course they found it, but thank you for coming. I owe you my life.
Well, that's still up in the mix of things, isn't it? We gotta get you to a doctor quick, get your Enviro suit tooled up and get you full of drugs.
That sounds lovely.
Do you know people around here, or you're on Omega if you don't know?
Oh, is that where I am? I'm not surprised. Of course they took me to fucking Omega. No, I did not know where I was. They hijacked my shuttle. I'm on pilgrimage. Trying to get something here. But I don't know anything.
Right.
Do I know, would that be another history for, do I know anyone?
I'd say that the Vipers have a medic.
Perfect.
That'd be the easy one, yeah.
And they would be able to, they would have drugs and stuff to patch up an Envirosuit for a Quarian?
It would make sense, right? Like, so they would definitely have drugs for Turians, because you've got Turians on the crew, and Turians and Quarian are both dextro, so, like, that seems reasonable, and you've got lots of shit to patch things. Like, you guys gotta fix up your shit all the time. It's Omega. Things break. And so you're not, like, 100% sure, but it seems like a reasonable guess.
Alright, in that case, Kache holsters the weapon and says, right,
Come with me.
And I guess offers, like, an arm to, like, put their arm over his hump. But however that would work.
Sure, yeah, you guys kind of, I think, like, there's this awkward sort of dancing moment of, yeah, okay.
In fact, Kache just puts an arm around the back and just puts the other arm at the back of their legs and just picks them up. Cradled like a child.
Perfect. Kache and Cypher walk off, and I think that's a great image to end it on, actually. Walking off into the Omegan sunset to go and get Cypher patched up. There we go.
Yay! I saved a Cypher. And that's how we met. Yeah.
You have been listening to I Should Roll, Ride of the Valkyrie, Minisode 6, A Krogan Called Kache, featuring the voices of J.D. Kelly as Kache, and Kaya Renwick as everyone and everything else. Music and sound effects are used under Creative Commons and royalty-free licenses. For the extended credits, please see the show notes, and for more information, please visit ishouldroll.com. Find us everywhere on social media at ishouldroll, and don't forget to leave us a review. I Should Roll is an Intergalactic Improv Initiative production. This fan podcast is a transformative work and is not affiliated with Electronic Arts or BioWare. Thank you for listening. Have a pleasant day.
Hi, Taito here. You've been listening to I Should Roll. You should listen to more. Oh, I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying that if you don't, there will be consequences. Oh, and while you're there, leave us a review. Please.